Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tier List Thursdays. This week, we're talking about Pokemon again. It's Pokemon again. I'm gonna do like 50 of these tier lists. But today, this week, we're gonna be doing the legendary Pokemon. I've already done pseudo legendaries. I didn't really feel like doing a specific typing like I did with last time with dark types. I figured, like I said, did pseudo legendaries, might as well get the real boys out of the way. I guess I don't think I need to explain the tiers all that much. I guess because they're not ordered normally. It's not ABC. These are all sneak preview. A subtle foreshadowing for whenever I finally get around and I do a tier list for literally every single Pokemon ever, because that will happen. I will do that. It's not going to be one video. It will be done throughout, probably, I don't know, I'll probably pick a month. You know what? Here's my announcement for y'all. Mark your calendars. The month of September. Every installment of Tier List Thursday will be dedicated to, doing the entirety of the Pokédex. So look forward to that, I guess. But this will be, unless I change my mind, which I am prone to do, but I think I will be sticking with this tiering system for pretty much all future Pokemon tier lists. Fluoride Stare is the neutral tier. What the fuck did I just do? Fluoride Stare is neutral. These are Pokemon that I Fluoride Stare at. I see them. They don't invoke any reaction in me at all. It's just, I don't really have anything to say. I can find value in you. Self-explanatory. They're Pokemon that I can find some modicum of appreciation for, by any means necessary. A Pokemon where, if I do have an impression of them, it is a marginally positive one. Swagged Out, that's when we get into the good Pokemon. This is when we get into the good ones. Swagged Out, these are Pokemon that I thoroughly enjoy, that I definitively like. These are Pokemon that if you gave one to me, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm alright with this. Buddy is the cream of the crop. Being referred to as a buddy is the highest praise I can give a Pokemon. These top tier goated ass Mons, they're just a subsect of buddy. Goated ass Mons, these are all buddies. And then, yeah, okay, whatever, Pokemon I don't really care for, even less than, indifference. Unfit even to graft, or Pokemon that are that suck, and I really don't like them. They're unfit even to graft, as, Morgott. No, not Morgott. Oh my god, I just got exposed as a fake fan. Godfrey said. And then Kill Thyself. These are Pokemon that I actively despise and hate. But anyways, those are the tierings. Let's get into the tier list. I'm already rambling, and it's, God, what? That doesn't even show me. Never mind. Whatever, we're like 2 minutes in and I'm already rambling. And it appears this tier list is in alphabetical order, so that's neat. But we'll start it off with, starting it off with God, Arceus. Arceus is swagged out. I definitely like Arceus. I think it's very, very befitting that they decided to make the god of all Pokemon a goat. Not only because greatest of all time, but because goats, one of the best animals. Love me some goats. But I love Arceus' design. He definitely has the, divine, angelic creator, thing going on with him. Like, the little, little ring around his, waist. It's kind of like his version of a halo. I like it. I think it's sick. He's amazing and competitive. I mean, Extreme Killer Arceus. Technically, not a lot of people talk about this, or know about this, who don't follow competitive singles Pokemon. But Arceus, technically, in a sense, the first Pokemon to get banned from Ubers. he got banned from Gen 4 Ubers after Gen 4 was the current gen. Arceus ended up getting banned from Gen 4 Ubers because he was too good. He was too strong. You couldn't deal with him. It was unhealthy for the metagame. So yeah, this did technically happen after Mega Rayquaza created Anything Goes tier. But you know, Arceus did it. He did it in his home gen. So, but I love Arceus. I love his mechanic or his gimmick of of multi-type, giving him different plates. He becomes a different type. I love how, like, in competitive Pokemon, depending on what plate you give Arceus, he becomes an entirely different Mon that you utilize in different ways. It's just, I love it. It's great. I think Arceus very much lives up to the billing as the god of Pokemon. But up next we got Articuno. Articuno, I think Articuno's like at the very bottom of swagged out, almost an I can find value in you. Because Articuno is he's, spoiler alert, he's my second favorite. He's the middle of the legendary birds for me. Hold on, give me just 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. I had to clear my throat. Articuno, he used to be my favorite. They used to be my favorite. Most of these don't have genders. I need to be better. Articuno, they used to be my favorite. I love their design. They are very sick. They're very elegant. But as time's gone on, another one has definitely stolen his spot from him. And I mean, I don't even play Pokemon Go anymore. I don't even touch it. But shout out Team Mystic. I'm like the only person I know, not in my immediate family, who was Team Mystic. Shout out Team Mystic. Shout out Articuno. But Articuno, it doesn't. Part of the reason why my opinion on Articuno has faltered somewhat is because he kind of sucks in competitive. Because Zapdos has, generations where he's like big dog. Moltres has had his moments. Articuno is... God, I don't even know what tier Articuno is in Gen 1. I think he's like... Is he UU? No, I think he's like... Yeah, no, I think he's UU. He's just... His Blizzard goes crazy. It's like the strong... Articuno's Blizzard, I think, is the strongest special attack in the game, not from Mewtwo. Fuck, Articuno Blizzard might be stronger than a Mewtwo Psychic. But... I don't know. He spams Blizzard, but I don't know. He's an Ice type, and just being Ice type, unfortunately, fucks over most Pokemon who are Ice type. But I'm not really saying anything of substance right now. Articuno's cool. He's alright. I like his design. I like their design. It's very elegant. It's pretty cool, but they're not my favorite legendary bird. Azelf is my favorite of the Lake Trio. That doesn't really say much, though. I don't really care for the Lake Trio. So, I didn't really play Gen 4 all that much as a kid, so I don't have a ton of nostalgia for it. I had Heart Gold Soul Silver, which is Gen 4, but that's Gen 2 remakes. So, I don't know. I didn't really have a lot of experience with the Lake Trio as a kid, so they don't have the nostalgia that a lot of other legendaries do. They're also just boring. They're lame. They're all mono-psychic, 580 base stats, just nothing interesting. I don't know. They're just, and they're roaming Pokemon, which it sucks. Dealing with roaming Pokemon is lame, and I hate it. But I like his design. I like that he's blue. That's about it. That's all I got to say about Azelf. Celebi, Celebi's like at the top of I can find value in you. I like the little onion fairy. I did have, when I was a kid, my mother bought me a DVD for one of the Pokemon movies. Actually, it was a double-sided DVD. One side had the 4th movie, and the other side, I think, had the 5th movie, the one with Latios Latios. But I was a kid, and I didn't know that. It was just like the box, it's like, oh, 2 Pokemon movies in one. And so it ended up being the way I would put the DVD in every time. It would be the 4th Pokemon movie. And I didn't know how to watch the other one, so I never watched the other one. But in Pokemon 4, Celebi is one of the featured. There's 2 legendaries featured in Pokemon 4. Celebi is one of them. And so I had a lot of experience with that. You know, I saw Celebi all the time, you know. So I do have a bit of nostalgia for it. I'm just realizing this is also a mythical tier list. I just now clicked with. I should have realized that the second it was Arceus. Arceus is a mythical. Duh. Well, I guess not anymore. He's not really mythical anymore. It's pretty easy to get him now if you have Legends Arceus. But yeah, Celebi's a mythical. So I guess it's the legendary and mythical tier list. Because there is a distinction. Nerd emoji. But I like Celebi. Honestly, one of my favorite mythicals. I think it's a very cute design. Grass Psychic is a pretty cool typing. I fuck with it. Although I do think it's funny that Celebi is called the fairy Pokemon. But it isn't a fairy type. Like, it get retroactively turned into a fairy, which is silly. But also, like, when it came out in Gen 2, out of all of the legendaries and mythicals, we had the legendary birds, we had the legendary dogs. But Mewtwo was a psychic, Mew, psychic type, and then Lugia is also a psychic type, and so is Celebi. So, like, even in, like, 2 generations, like, you got 4 psychic type legendaries out of, like, a total of, like, 10. Which, you know, kind of oversaturated the market a little bit. But that's not too big of a knock on Celebi. It's not Celebi's fault that Game Freak made a shit ton of psychics. But yeah, Celebi's cute. I like it. Cobalion. Ooh, I want to say Cobalion makes Buddy. No, Cobalion might be the gatekeeper for the Buddy tier, because I have a lot of nostalgia for Cobalion. I obviously had Pokemon Black 2 growing up, the best Pokemon game, period. And that game, and Black and White 2 gives you Cobalion, like, it's almost, you can miss. Terrakion is very easy to miss. Not very, but he's easy to miss. But Virizion and Cobalion, they very much put in front of you, like, hey, catch him. So I'm playing through, you know, Black 2, and I'm like 10 years old, and I'm having the time of my life, and I find Cobalion, and it's sick, and it's awesome, and he's great, he's super cool. He's a fighting steel type, badass typing, and when I was younger, fighting type was my favorite type. So obviously, he's sick as fuck. Design, I love it. First of all, it's blue. A lot of blue in these first few mods. But that is a benefit. I mean, when I was younger, blue was my favorite color. It's still definitely a top tier color. Color tier list sometime in the future. I love his design. He's sick. I have a lot of nostalgia for him. I had him. I don't know if he stuck on the team the entire time. I don't know if he got replaced, because I did have a Lucario, and there was, you know, a tiny little bit of overlap, because I remember on that team, I had my starter, Oshawott, obviously. I had a Lucario, because at that time, he was my favorite Pokemon. I know I had an Excadrill. And I know I had Cobalion for a point in time, so that's like 3 steel types. Which, you know, based, hell yeah. But I don't know, I think I might have boxed him, because I was like, I don't need 3 steel types, and I don't need 2 of those to have the exact same typing. But, you know, I found him, I used my Master Ball on him, actually, I think, because I thought he was that cool. He has access to Sacred Sword. He was one of the original first 4 mons who could get Sacred Sword, which is a cool-ass move. Somebody say swords, you know, like that's all it takes from me, really. However, you know, ever since that childhood Pokemon Black 2 playthrough, I haven't really thought about Cobalion all that much. He's, you know, he's there, he lingers in the back of my mind sometimes, but he's not really at the forefront And I mean, there's some legendaries on here who, you know, they're goats. They're the cream of the crop. And Cobalion, he is not in that tier. And I don't look at Cobalion, I don't think Buddy. And so he doesn't go in the Buddy tier, but he's great. He's awesome. Fuck, what are these two assholes' names? Cosmoem and Cosmog. Cosmoem exists. It's like, it's the middle stage. I'll talk about Cosmog at the same time. Cosmog can go in Fluoride Stare because it's kind of cute. But I look at it and I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care about you. I want you to be your third stage. Which is the one neat thing about this line. Because not only are these legendary Pokemon that evolve, a 3-stage legendary evolution line, but they evolve into box legendaries. Like Cosmog becomes Solgaleo or, what's its name? Lunala? Yeah, it's in the L, so it's Lunala. I remember that right. Which is neat. It's a fascinating concept, but it doesn't really get brought up all that much. Well, I mean, it's not like you have a Cosmog and then train it and it becomes legendary. Lily, I think's her name, has a Cosmog, and then as the plot goes on, then it becomes a Cosmoem, and then it becomes a box legendary for your game. But then post-game, you can find a Cosmog who can transform into the other one. Anyways, whatever. Neat concept, but it never really, it's neat, but it's not, then that's it. It's like, oh, cool, that's, and they've never done it again. But I think Cosmoem's a lame design. It looks stupid. Cosmog's cute. It's like this little, you know, gas cluster. And then it has the shell form around. I don't know. This doesn't look like a Pokemon. This looks like an object. Like an inanimate object. But, you know, whatever. I really don't have a lot to say about Cosmoem or Cosmog. Cresselia. Now, Cresselia, I'm going to put her right above Articuno. A lot of nostalgia for Cresselia. Catchable in Black and White 2. Right off the bat, that's a top. That bodes well for any Pokemon. But it was featured. It's in Brawl. Cresselia is in Brawl. The Spear Pillar stage, which I loved as a kid. That was one of my favorite stages to play on. I thought it was so sick. Cresselia is one of the Pokemon, one of the legendaries who can spawn in Spear Pillar. And you know, I played the shit out of Brawl when I was a kid. And so, Cresselia has been a Pokemon that's always kind of been, for as long as I've really known about Pokemon, I've known about Cresselia. And so, I have a lot of positive connotations with it. But, I mean, most importantly, I think with Cresselia, before Incineroar won every major tournament ever, Cresselia had, like, the best claim as the best VGC Mon ever. Because Cresselia is an incredibly potent, bulky, and supportive Mon. To like a point where you really didn't have a reason not to put Cresselia on a lot of teams because it was just that useful to have. There was an opportunity cost to not having a Cresselia. But you know, but unfortunately, Cresselia, it's got a little bit of a goofy design. Like, you take away those little like lunar rings or whatever, and it's like it looks like a rubber duck. But I don't know. I think it borders that line between being weird and stupid and kind of pulling it off a little bit. But yeah, that's Cresselia. Darkrai. See, Darkrai's alright. Darkrai's cool. I'm not putting him above Arceus, though. Now, you may be surprised. Those who know me might think, wow, Peyton, this edgy bastard of a Pokemon, why don't you love him? And I don't have an answer for you. Darkrai should, like, be my exact cup of tea. but he's just not. You know what it is? You know, I think ruins it for Darkrai with me. It doesn't have legs, but it kind of does. So when I was younger, if things didn't have legs, I thought they would look goofy. Because if it didn't have legs, it looked less human, and so I would like it less. Like if a robot had like if a robot didn't have legs, I thought it would look stupid. Like if it had like treads, like if it moved around on wheels, I thought that was lame and it was stupid. And even if it hovered, like if it just floated around, I thought that was a lot less cool than just having legs to walk around. And so Darkrai not having legs, I think there's still like that, whatever that part of my kid brain knocking around in my head. It's like, he doesn't have legs, he looks stupid. But like in that one Pokemon movie that he's in, I forget which exact one it is. There's like that one scene where he has like these really weird, long, spindly legs, and they look stupid. He looks so stupid. And it's like, you don't have legs, but you kind of do, but they're stupid legs. But besides that, that really kind of does bring down Darkrai a little bit for me. But I love Darkrai's pretty sick. He's like the nightmare Pokemon. Like, he's the embodiment of nightmares. Like him and Cresselia are like, they got a little rivalry going on. Dark typing based. Design is sick. He's like this little nightmare ghost, and badass design, looks awesome. And he has signature move Dark Void. Puts both Pokemon, like, it can hit two Pokemon at once, puts them both to sleep, which is insane. But it was too good, and like people realized that they could slap it on Smeargle, and then Smeargle got it nerfed because Pokemon, the Game Freak didn't want Smeargle ruining every tournament ever. So, like, really kind of fucked over Darkrai. He lost his signature move. But, you know, he just, he didn't deserve it. But yeah, Darkrai's cool. Deoxys, I'm not going to rank the other forms. I'm not going to waste my time with that. I'm just going to do base Deoxys. Deoxys is pretty fucking cool. Deoxys is pretty sick. Yeah, I'm gonna put him right below Arceus. I love that like Deoxys is like the first Pokemon with multiple forms, because now having alternate forms, I mean, look at all this shit. We got Megas, we got Giratina with his different forms, primal versions. Hoopa and Hoopa Unbound. Keldeo's got different forms. Like, you can't even, like, go through any of these without seeing multiple forms for, like, one Mon. Like, the longest stretch I can see right here is, like, from Solgaleo to Terrakion. Like, oh, none of these Pokemon have different forms. But that's not true, because fucking Suicune has a Paradox form. So, so like, giving legendaries, and really any Pokemon, alternate forms is all the fucking rage. It's so in vogue. Deoxys was the first one. He was the first one. He is the blueprint for modern day Pokemon. Because he has his attack, defense, and speed variations as well as his base form. Bro was so goddamn ahead of his time. Also, design is sick. He's a literal alien, comes from outer space. He's like supposed to be he's like this parasitic kind of like life form. I mean, his arms are double helixes. And I love that he has that rivalry, that beef with Rayquaza. I think that's sick. I love that it's just fucking on site with them. And I mean that one shot from the movie where Rayquaza hits him with a point-blank hyper beam and disintegrates him. Oh my god, that shit's so raw. But Deoxys is sick, he's great. And obviously his different forms have been very useful. Very, very good and competitive. I mean, Deoxys speed is like, for like 3 generations in a row, was like the the best opener, the best lead in Ubers. And there's that fucking that fucking clip of like a Gen 5 Ubers game where they both send out their Deoxys speeds, and neither of them. Basically, it's like 20 turns in a row of them both hitting Magic Code because they don't want to end up setting up on themselves. I don't know. It's one of those funny little Pokemon clips. And Deoxys is directly responsible for it, so shout out to him. But yeah, we love Deoxys. Dialga. No shit. He goes in Buddy. God, this fucking design. Oh my god. Well, first of all, Dragon Steel. Based. Super fucking sick. Second, just the design. Look at him, dude. Look at this fucking dinosaur. Sorry, weird noise coming from my apartment. Look at this fucking armored out dinosaur dragon god. This shit is so sick. Like, this is something you look at and you're like, yeah, this is a legendary. Because with Articuno, you're like, oh, that's a pretty cool bird. It's definitely powerful, but I don't know. Some of these guys, you don't look at them and you wouldn't think legendary. You don't see Cosmog and Cogsmoem and go, legendary. Same thing with, like, Azelf. You look at Dialga and you're like, this thing... Like, when I tell you this thing is the god of time, you don't doubt me. Because look at this. Yeah, of course it is. Of course this thing is. God, he's so fucking... I just look at him, man. He's a fucking dinosaur god. Sick typing. Not the greatest in competitive, unfortunately, but whatever. I'm not gonna hold that against him. I could rave about how sick Dialga looks so much. God, he's sick. Yeah, he's definitely Buddy. Next we got Diancie. I'm not gonna bother ranking the Mega. You'll have to wait for September for that, or whenever I do a Mega's tier list. Diancie, I don't Fluoride Stare. It's Diancie came out kind of like right when I was starting to hit a lull with Pokemon. I loved X and Y when they came out. That's playing X and Y on release date. Probably the most fun I've ever had with a Pokemon game. Honestly, like when that first playthrough of X and Y, that's like a core memory. That's like a top 5 experience in life. But the problem with X and Y was that those games they don't have a post game at all, and every time I've replayed them, or anytime I would try to replay them back then, it just it wasn't hitting. It did not hit the same. And so by the time Diancie and like all the other Gen 6 Mythicals were coming out, I was out of the loop. I stopped paying attention. I stopped caring. And I don't know. I like that, you know, she's like her like thing she's got going on with like Carbink, where like she's technically like a Carbink, but like the ascended version. I don't know. Design's kind of cute. Little rock fairy, which is exactly her typing. And obviously she has a Mega because it's Gen 6. Everything had to have a Mega. But I don't really have any experiences with Diancie, so she just kind of goes in the Fluoride Stare. Entei, Buddy. Honest to God, kind of bordering on goated ass Mons as time goes by. I fucking love Entei. He's my favorite of the legendary dogs. Or legendary beasts. They're not dogs. But he's so sick. Design, raw, gets his own movie. In fact, Raikou was the only one who never got a movie, which is fucked up. Put some respect on Raikou. You know, Pokemon 3, he's like the core, he's like the central focus of it. But yeah, there's just a big dog. Whatever, competitive. I mean, gouging fire. I believe Yeah, I think Gouging Fire is still banned in Ubers. But he's sick. He's awesome. Definitely my favorite Paradox form. But I love Entei. Entei's great. Genesect. Genesect's pretty cool. This is gonna be a very top-heavy tier list, I'm afraid. Above Cresselia, do I like him more than Darkrai? I think I do. Not more than Deoxys, though. Genesect's great. Genesect is sick. What's Genesect got going for him? Well, first of all, he's Gen 5. And that's just kind of a natural... If you're Gen 5, you probably just kind of go up a tier if you were any other... Compared if you came out in any other generation. Nostalgia's a bitch. But, you know, he came out when I was, like, in my peak investment in Pokemon. Sick-ass design. Bug Steel. Cool typing. And I'll say it right here. My preferred Bug Steel type, Scizor, kind of overrated. He's Urple. Goated. I love that, you know, they taught, like, his deck entries, like, oh, Team Plasma brought back, like, this super, like, brought back to life, like, this ancient Apex Predator Pokemon. And I just remember having so much fun as a kid, being like, ooh, was that Apex Predator Kabutops? They kind of look similar. Just like the fun little theory crafting on what Genesect was before he got, you know, roboticized. He's also fucking... oh my god, I still can't believe... So, unbelievably good and competitive. For Gen 5 and Gen 6, at least. Gen 7, he kind of fell off. Unfortunately, he became washed. But Gen 5 and Gen 6, he was ridiculous. And for some reason, the fucking OU Council was like, oh yeah, no, let's try him out and overused. And and it was the dumbest shit ever. He was way too fucking strong. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. I don't know why they thought that would ever be a good idea. But, you know, he ran shit. He was way too fucking good for overused, got banned, and was still really fucking good in Ubers. And that accounts for something. That gets you aura points. Like I said, Bug Steel, Steel typing, based. Giratina. So, hold on, let me just make a... I'm just gonna put alternate forms in its own little tier, just to get them out of the way. Boom, 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 boom. Now, Giratina. Go to Desmond. He's Pokemon Devil. He's the Pokemon Devil. Do I need to explain myself? Those who know, those who knows, being the Pokemon Devil, that's gonna get you like plus a billion points for me, because I'm an edgy little bastard. But the design is so fucking sick, and, you know, on the topic of the whole devil thing, you know, he's got the 6 spikes on his wings, 6 ribs, 6 legs, and then in his origin form, he's got the 6 little tendril things, 6 ribs, 6 little spikes, like, ooh, 666. Dragon Ghost is a badass typing. You know, the traversing the distortion world in Platinum is kind of annoying, and I never enjoyed that part of replaying those games. But going to the top of Spear Pillar, him fucking appearing in like this evil fucking glob of darkness, it's just, oh my god, the cutscene with him is great. It really sells Giratina as this very powerful, very terrifying force. And the distortion world, like I said, not fun to traverse, but it is a very sick set piece, and it is very cool. And for a long time, Giratina was my favorite legendary, although he has been dethroned. But spoiler alert, the person who dethroned, the mon that dethroned him, it's gonna be a second till we get to him. But I fucking love Giratina, so sick. Groudon, buddy. Shit. I don't know where to. Oh fuck, this is a toughie. He's gonna. Oh fuck, he goes right below Dialga, but it's so close. It could really go either way depending on how I'm feeling. But right now, I'm feeling Dialga more than I'm feeling Groudon. And Primal Groudon, I'm going to put right next to him. Actually, no, I'm not going to bother ranking the Primals. How I feel about the Primals or how I feel about their base forms. Groudon is so sick. So he's basically... he's the... He's like the god of Earth, pretty much, but not like he rules the world, but like he's the embodiment of Earth, you know, Groundon, the whole thing in, you know, Gen 3. Kyogre's the ocean, Groudon is the Earth, and I mean, we'll get to it when I rank Kyogre, but I will plant my flag firmly on Team Groudon. Groudon's so much cooler than Kyogre, and I mean, if you really think about it, you know, well, what's underneath the ocean? It's more Earth. So if anything, Kyogre's the one who's surrounded. But fucking Pokemon in-jokes aside, he's a Godzilla. He's a big old kaiju. If you've watched any of the other Pokemon tier lists, that's all I need to say. But God, he's so fucking sick. He's a big old kaiju. And he's like the embodiment of the Earth. It's, oh, he's so sick. And he lives up to his billing. But yeah, that's Groudon. Heatran. Oh, man. Heatran's a buddy. He's a goated Esmon. Oh, man. Yeah, he's great. Fire Steel, amazing typing. Heatran's good in, like, every single metagame ever. It's, like, absurd. Like, if you go to his Smogon page, it's, like, there's, like, 50 different metagames listed, because he's good in all of them. It's insane. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. I love Heatran. I love him so much. He's... I don't know, it's kind of weird to talk about Heatran right now, actually. But basically, the background is that I'm oversharing. I don't need to talk about that. But yeah, I love Heatran. He's great. He's a Pokemon that normally I wouldn't really give a shit about, but I had a very special interaction with a Heatran, and now he's top tier. I love him. He's one of those Pokemon that I love above all else. Shout out to him. Ho-Oh. Oh god, Ho-Ho's kind of... Ho-Ho's a fluoride stare, really. So I had Soul Silver growing up. Lugia is way cooler than Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh, I don't know. His design doesn't really do anything for me. Fire Flying's not really a typing that speaks to me. And I don't think he ever has, like, a role in, like, a competitive where I'm like, oh, that's sick, that's really cool. Because at first, he kind of sucked, because Fire Flying is not a great typing, especially after, Stealth Rock got introduced. But he got Regenerator as his hidden ability, I think Gen 5. And so he just became, like, this fucking... Like, he became more bulky than, like, Lugia did. Because, like, he would constantly regain health. From swapping out. But yeah, no, I don't have a ton to say about Oh-Oh. He's a mon that exists. I don't really have any special connection with him, unfortunately. Does have an incredibly fucking sick shiny though. God, Hoopa and Hoopa Unbound. Hoopa's... Yeah, okay, whatever, and then Hoopa Unbound is unfit to graft. Like I said with Diancie, it came out in a time where, like, I was not very invested in Pokemon. Her design doesn't do anything for me. I mean, it's a... Oh, God, I don't remember... Because they have different typings. And I don't remember what they are, but I think one of them's, like, Psychic Dark or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about Hoopa. I think Hoopa looks kind of stupid. I remember there was a time when I was playing Pixelmon, and, like, you know, this thing was annoying, because we were trying to get, like, legendaries to spawn, and this thing would just spawn over and over again instead of like a cool one. And so it just, I kind of associate Hoopa with being the guy nobody invited. And then Hoopa Unbound, I think, looks stupid. I get it's trying to go for like this, like Unbound, like Unleashed, like Jin kind of thing. But I think it looks stupid. I think its torso's way too big. I don't know. I think Hoopa Unbound looks dumb. Jirachi, however, we're back to positive talk. I love Jirachi. I'll put it right below Deoxys, right above Genesect. Psychic Fairy. I'm not sorry. It's not a fairy type. Psychic Steel. Sick typing. I think Jirachi's fucking adorable. I mean, like, every generation had, like, a small, cute, floating little psychic mythical, which is weird. I think Gen 4 broke that, because there was Mew, then there was Celebi, and then there was Jirachi. But I think Jirachi's incredible. It's so fucking cute. It's adorable. I love that its whole gimmick is that it's, like, the wish granter. Like it grants wishes. That's cool. And so its head is in the shape of like a star, because like wishing upon like a shooting star. I love the little tassels it has floating from its head. I love Jirachi's design. It's adorable. And it's also one of the most vile, evil pieces of shit to ever exist. Jirachi gets an ability called Serene Grace, which increases the chances of like secondary effects happening for moves. And so what people will do with Jirachi is they will give it 2 moves, Thunder Wave and Iron Head. What Thunder Wave does is it paralyzes Pokemon. Pokemon that are paralyzed get their speed drastically reduced, and there's a chance that they won't be able to move due to the paralysis. And what Iron Head does is it's a move where if you land it, there's a chance that it will make the opponent flinch. So people will slap these 2 moves on Jirachi, and they will just click they will Thunder Wave, and then they will click Iron Head over and over and over again, and they'll pray that either the Iron Head makes you flinch, and or the paralysis, you get frozen by the paralysis. And because paralysis slows you down, Jirachi's not a slow Pokemon by any means, but the paralysis just means that Jirachi is 100% faster than you. And it's evil. It's vile. It's strategy straight from the rectum of Satan, and I think that's hilarious. But Jirachi, you're swagged out. My little Keldeo. So when I was a kid, I remember thinking to myself, because when I was younger, my 2 favorite typings were water and fighting. Keldeo is water fighting type. So I would think to myself, well, naturally, I should really like Keldeo then. He's my 2 favorite Pokemon types. But even as a kid, I couldn't even convince myself with that logic. I think his other form is a little bit cooler. But he's like the 4th member of the Swords of Justice. He's, I don't know. He's technically a mythical. Because you just can't naturally get him. And I never was able to get a Keldeo when I was a kid, so that always bummed me out. I just, I kind of had like a FOMO with Keldeo, because I never got to get him. But I think he's a little too, like, he just kind of looks like a horse, like a little unicorn with like a big-ass hair. Because like with Cobalion, yeah, he's supposed to be like this big, regal, I'm not entirely sure what animal. Kind of like I guess he's kind of like a deer. But he's got like the little like coat. He's got the big puffed up collar, the chest fur. But with Keldeo, it's like, nah, you're just a horse, man. That's just a horse. But I don't know. I don't really have a ton to say about Keldeo, unfortunately. Kyogre's pretty cool. I used to be pretty down on Kyogre. I used to think he was really overrated, but I have come around to him. He is pretty cool. He goes... I think I'll put him... He can go right above Deoxys. Oh, shit, man. I don't know. No, I don't think he will. Deoxys is really fucking cool, man. Deoxys is really fucking cool. But oh, Kyogre's sick, but no, he goes above Deoxys. What am I talking about? Oh god, it's really a toss-up between them actually. But Kyogre, as I mentioned earlier, he's like the embodiment of the ocean. And I love the idea of, you know, just this primordial, like unfathomably big whale, you know, guarding the oceans. So he's sick. Real fucking cool. Very, very good and competitive. In fucking VGC and singles for like its entire existence. I don't think there's ever been a point in time where Kyogre was not very good. Man, I'm tripping. The longer I was looking at his design, I'm like, no, Kyogre's so fucking sick. Yeah, he goes in Buddy. Kyogre's awesome. Yeah, he's great, but no, Groudon's definitely better. He's way cooler. But yeah, no, he's a kaiju, but he's like a whale kaiju, and that's sick. That's awesome. I have a deep love and appreciation for like large things, and what I mean by that is like anytime something is big, anytime something has a sense of like this grand scale, I'm smitten by it. I love it. It's amazing, and that's part of the reason why I love kaiju so much. I just love the idea of like big giant monsters that like tower over things, and you know, blue whales are naturally like fucking. They're like the closest thing we have to kaijus on Earth, and I love the idea of like a blue whale. And Kyogre's not that big, but in my head, lore accurate, Kyogre is like blue whale plus. I don't know. Kyogre's so sick. Yeah, well, yeah. Put him down here. I'm not gonna bother ranking the other two forms of Kyurem. Just know that I'm not the highest on them, unfortunately. But Kyurem, he's definitely swagged out. He goes right above Cobalion, actually. So, Gen 5, so I have a lot of experience and nostalgia with him. He is like the third member of the God, I forgot what the title is for the Gen 5 box legendaries, like their little trio. Regardless, he's the third member of them. You know, we got Zekrom, who's represents ideals. Reshiram represents truth, and they used to be unified. They used to be one singular dragon. And, you know, cool little lore, neat concept, I love it. But when that dragon got split in half, it wasn't... When it got split between Reshiram and Zekrom, Kyurem got left in the in-between. Like, he was, like, it wasn't a complete 50-50 split, it was, like, 40-40-20, and, like, Kyurem got left over. And I love that idea. I love that concept. And, like, Kyurem doesn't represent anything. He's not idealism or truth. He's like this void. He's this creature that should not be. And, you know, I love that Team Plasma was able to try and slowly get closer to creating that original dragon by merging Kyurem with Reshiram or Zekrom, depending on the game. And I love that concept. I think it's so fascinating. I love how his like wings are like asymmetrical. Like one's a lot larger than the other. Kyurem's just so cool. He's so cool. And he's a dragon type, which is a plus. Sick ass typing. Dragon Ice, cold typing. But yeah, he just such fascinating, cool lore. I love him. Oh boy, whew. Lando. Man, where do I fucking start with Lando? So I'm not gonna bother ranking the base form for Landorus. The Landorus incarnate, whatever. When 99% of people who play Pokemon, when they think of Landorus, they don't think of Landorus incarnate. They think of Landorus Therian, Lando T. This dude ran shit. One of the greatest competitive Pokemon ever. Ground flying, incredible typing. He has access to an Intimidate, incredible ability. And he has access to basically every single move you kind of want him to. I mean, for like 3, almost 4 generations, Landorus Therian was like one of, if not the best Pokemon and overused. And you know, it took until like the ridiculous amount of power creep from like these last 2 generations to finally knock him down a peg. And I think that's sick. I think that's awesome. I think the Weather Trio is a little underwhelming, or at least their incarnate forms are, because they're very copy-pastes of each other. And they embody a lot less cool and fascinating things than like a lot of other trios do. They're just like weather, you know, which I do think is very fascinating with Gen 5 when how the competitive scene shaped out, where like weather was such a vital, important part, and weather ended up getting nerfed because of it, and they're the weather trio. But they don't even set up weather, which is silly. But you know, you got rainstorm, just regular winds like tornadoes, and then sandstorms. But I mean, he's a legendary. Yeah, they're all legendaries. He is legendary, above other legendaries for his legacy. Like honest to God, like LeBron levels of like competitive Pokemon. He has to go in Buddy because of that. Okay, the fucking. You know what? I'm gonna make an exception. The Megas for Latios and Latias are dog shit. I hate them. You can't even tell them apart. The worst Megas in the series. Anyways, Latios and Latios. I'm gonna start off with Latios because it's the one I like a little bit more. Latios, bottom of Buddy. And then Latias, I'll put in Swagged Out. Now you may be thinking to yourself, Jesus Christ, Peyton. Well, I can't even say my own fucking name. Jesus Christ, Peyton. It's a pretty big fucking gap between 2 Pokemon that are basically the exact same. And you're right, that is. However, I have a lot of nostalgia with Latios. I do not have that with Latias. So, the Eon duo. Sick fucking title. Dragon Psychic types. Sick typing. But the reason why I have so much more nostalgia for Latios than Latias is because Latios is catchable in black too, whereas Latias is catchable in white too. And it really just boils down to that. But also, I just like Latios' design a little bit more. It's larger, it's blue, it's like the older brother, because they're siblings, I think. I'm pretty sure that's canon. But like Latios is like the older brother of the 2. And I guess, you know, being an eldest brother, that speaks to me, resonates with me. And I also prefer Latios because he's the faster, like he's the more offensively tooled one of the 2, and I mean, I like having the Pokemon that kills things better. And Latios kills things better than Latias, which is quite ironic because in competitive, I believe Latias is actually a little bit better than Latios, because the difference in offense isn't that big, but like the slight extra bulk Latias has over Latios, you notice a lot more than the difference in offense. Regardless. I think they're really cool. I think they're really sick. Unfortunately, in Gen 3, they are wandering Pokemon, and they're very annoying to catch. But then that knocks them down a little bit. But also, I had Pokemon Ranger 3 as a kid. And unless, yeah, and in that game, you can, like, catch, or you don't catch them, but, like, you basically get the ability to call upon, like, Latios, and you can fly around on them. And I remember thinking that was so cool when I was a kid. But yeah, they're cool. I like them. I fuck with them. Lugia. Now, for a long time when I was a kid, Lugia was my favorite legendary. I mentioned before that I had Soul Silver. Soul Silver was my first Pokemon game. So Lugia was like my first legendary, or my first box legendary. And so that really resonated with me. And clearly I must have liked... my first impression with Lugia was strong enough that as a kid, I decided to nickname my Lugia after my father, which, high praise. I mean, as a child, it's like a little 7-year-old Peyton seeing a Pokemon and going, that's the one, that's my dad. Come on now. Young Peyton knew what was up. But Lugia's great, he's awesome. I love his design. His concepts. So, Lugia has a weird place in, like, the lore a little bit, because he wasn't supposed to exist. Or at least he was not planned to exist in Gen 2. Originally, Gen 2, Ho-Oh was going to be the box legendary for both games, for Gold and Silver. But they were making Pokemon 2, the second Pokemon movie, around the same time, and the director or someone in the movie came up with a design for Lugia and wanted to use it in the film. And so Lugia was technically more of like a film, made for film Pokemon than a made for games Pokemon. But they made Lugia, he was sick, he kind of got established, and so it was like, well, I guess we kind of have to use him in the games, more or less. And so that's why and so even in Pokemon Silver, like, Lugia barely shows up in the plot because he was added such last second. But his role, he's the leader of the legendary birds. So he has like that little dichotomy with Ho-Oh, where Ho-Oh's like, he brought the legendary beasts back to life, and so Lugia leads the legendary birds. I also remember when I was a kid, there was this Pokemon AMV I stumbled upon with Lugia. It was set to Dance with the Devil by Breaking Benjamin. I have a ton of nostalgia for Lugia. I have so many different positive correlations and memories with Lugia. He's pretty decently good and competitive. I mean, he's a big, bulky, hard to kill piece of shit who stalls you out. And while it is objectively the most evil way to play Pokemon singles competitively, it's the funniest way to play it as well, so that gets in some bonus points. Just spam Calm Minds, Roost, and click Toxic, and it's just, you know, your opponent will want to put their fist through their screen. But I was mentioning before, he kind of has a weird place, because he's the Guardian of the Sea, but in the next games, they introduce Kyogre. So it's like, okay, you're like the Guardian of the Sea, but he's like the embodiment of the sea, so what's going on? What do you actually do? Like, there's not a Guardian of the Land, it's just Kyogre. But I don't know, he kind of, because he was added so last second, his lore is a little weird. Also, it's bizarre that, you know, he lives underwater, he's the Guardian of the Sea, but he's a Psychic type, not a Water type. He's Flying Psychic, not Water. But anyways, and also, Gale of Darkness. He's like he gets a shadow form, and it's sick as fuck. Ho-Oh didn't get a shadow form, but there's Shadow Lugia. Yeah, no, that's enough about Lugia. Lunala, it's pretty cool. Lunala's got a sick design. I don't have a ton of association with Lunala. I only ever played through Gen 7 once. I never played Ultra Sun and Moon. I played through Sun once. Didn't have the time of my life playing that one, actually. But, you know, Lunala's cool. I like it's like this big old vampire bat, and it represents the moon, which is pretty sick. Ghost Psychic, sick typing. Fortunately, I don't have a ton to say about Lunala, but that's about it. Magearna, let my nuts hang like Magearna. Yeah, Magearna. God, was Magearna Gen 7 or Gen 6? I think she was Gen 7? The fact that I don't even know what generation she is says so much. It's a cute little design. I like the little steel, like little dancing doll thing. I have like no memories or experiences with this Mon. I know it exists. I get it sometimes when I'm playing like randoms on Showdown. Like that's it. Manaphy. Yeah, that's a Pokemon that exists. God, if there were a man, if ever there were a Pokemon to exist, Manaphy's one of them. I don't even know what this thing's lore is. It's just a thing. Like its whole gimmick is that it's like the only legendary that can breed. But it doesn't make more Manaphys. They become, where is it? It becomes Phione, which is a shittier version of Manaphy. I don't know. Design's kind of whatever. Manaphy is the most Fluoride Stare. He's the most Pokemon that exists, whatever. And Phione, its whole gimmick is that it's a shittier version of an already Pokemon that exists. I don't really have a lot to say about him. Marshadow. Cute as fuck. I love this little guy. Ghost fighting, sick type. No, I never had a Marshadow. Like I said, I played Gen 7 once. Oh shit, the music. Oh fuck, this is gonna be a long video. Oh my god. Holy shit, I have been rambling. Marshadow's cute. I love his typing. He's in Smash, which is cool. But I think he's awesome. I love the idea of this tiny little gremlin man being like a super terrifying, menacing fighter. He's swagged out. He's not better than God though. I'll put him right above Darkrai. I like him more than Darkrai, but not as much as Genesect. Meloetta. That's a Pokemon that exists. It's the closest thing that Pokemon has to Miku, I guess, which is nice, which is what she's got going for it, but she ain't Miku. Lord knows she ain't Miku. And then her alternate form, I think, looks stupid. She looks dumb. Better than Phione, though, I guess. Yeah, not a ton to say about them. They're a little singer Pokemon, mythical that from Gen 5 that I never got to acquire. So, whatever. Mesprit. Yeah. Yeah, that's a Pokemon that exists. Lake Trio. I think Mesprit's the only one that's not a wandering, though. So that gets him some bonus points. I'm gonna put him right below Cosmog, though, because at least Cosmog has a cute design, but she doesn't. Mew, the first mythical. Pokemon you technically couldn't actually acquire until Gen 4. Which is neat. I'll put Mew right above Azelf. Mew's a dog in Gen 1 Ubers. Like, honest to God, if Mew was a normal type instead of a psychic type, he might even be better than fucking Mewtwo is in Gen 1. Sword Stance Body Slam from a stab, fucking all base stat 100 Mon. Mew would be kind of ridiculous. I love Mew's concept of being like the progenitor of all Pokemon life, and like it's the common ancestor. It's the universal ancestor. And I like thinking of well, I don't know. I just think there's cool lore there. And it is cute. Little fetus cat thing, which is a weird fucking thing when you say it out loud, but Mew's adorable and it pulls it off. I'm not gonna bother with the megas for Mewtwo, but Mewtwo, I'm not all that Mewtwo pilled. I'm not a Mewtwo head. I never was. He never really spoke to me. Well, I think what part of it is I loved Lucario when I was a kid. He was like my favorite Pokemon for the longest time, and I got introduced to Lucario through Brawl. And Lucario, he wasn't like a one-to-one, like he's not a clone of Mewtwo, but there was like a kind of some similarities between him and like Mewtwo and Melee. And you know, obviously Mewtwo wasn't in Brawl, but Lucario was. So like people would say like, oh, Lucario replaced Mewtwo. And so just knowing that as a kid, in my head, I'm like, Lucario was so fucking sick, and he replaced this chump. So Lucario's way cooler than Mewtwo. And so, in my head, ever since I was a kid, Mewtwo's always just kind of been a second fiddle. And I think that kind of dampers my opinion of him. But, I mean, he's the first legendary. So he's got that going for him. But I don't know, he kind of... At some point, it's like, yeah, okay, there are other Pokemon that should get attention beside Mewtwo, you know? He kind of suffers from, like, a Charizard, where, like, Game Freak gives Mewtwo a lot of love, and I'm not entirely here for it. Moltres, my least favorite of the legendary birds. His design looks kind of stupid. My issue with Moltres that they address with Galarian Moltres, who is not on this tier list, there's not enough flames on his body. He looks like one of those like rubber chicken toys that like you lit on fire. Like he doesn't look imposing, doesn't look menacing. Like he's the phoenix of Pokemon, but there's not a lot of fire going on. It's just, I don't know. He's a firebird, but he looks like he's more bird than fire. Lame design. And I look at him and I can never take him seriously. I'm not doing the Duskmane. I don't know. Necrozma. I did not realize Necrozma was a legendary. I thought he was an Ultra Beast. Necrozma's pretty cool. He's got a pretty sick design. I love his concept of being like a prism and like he absorbs light. And so he would then try to absorb the sun and the moon. Very cool. I'll put, yeah, he goes above Marshadow, but not above Genesect. Yeah, he's a cool little concept. I like him. I like him a lot. For a Mon from a generation that I didn't even play the post game for, I've got a pretty good opinion of Necrozma. Palkia, the other creation trio, the last of the creation trio. Palkia is pretty cool. I've definitely got my opinions on Palkia. I've gotten a lot stronger over the years. I used to think he was a lot lamer. I thought he was very heavy second fiddle to Dialga. However, I realized I can appreciate Palkia for what he is now, although Dialga is still way cooler. God of Space, sick as fuck. Dragon Water, cool typing, although he doesn't look like a water type, which is kind of like a little pet peeve of mine, because you look at Dialga, and you see all, like, the fucking steel plating and, like, all of the, like, armor he's got going on, I'm like, yeah, that's a steel type. You look at Dialga, and you're like, yeah, he's like a big old ghost dragon. But you look at Palkia, you don't think water type. You only think water type because that is his typing. Like, he would look like he would be maybe a psychic type, maybe a poison type. Like, you don't look at him and you don't think water. I don't know. I feel like his design kind of lets him down in that aspect. But, you know, being the dragon god of space, yeah, okay, that's pretty fucking raw. Raikou. Yeah, he goes in Buddy. Like him more than Latios, like him more than Kyogre. And Lando. Definitely Groudon. I don't think he's above Lugia, though. Oh, no, fuck it, he is. He is. I love Raikou. Wow. first electric type on the tier list. Well, I love electric type. It's definitely one of my favorite typings. I think electricity is my favorite element. And I like, like core element type things. I love lightning. I love lightning storms. I love that shit. And the badass, like saber-tooth tiger, lightning saber-tooth tiger is sick as fuck. I think Raikou was the first of the legendary beasts I ever caught, actually. I think when I was a kid, I was able to catch Raikou. I never got Entei. I never got Suicune. But I think Raikou was the only one I ever caught, and I love him for that. But yeah, he's so sick. And he didn't get a movie though, and that's so lame. Put some respect on Raikou. But Entei, he's way more raw. Mega Rayquaza, I'm not ranking. I don't feel like it. Rayquaza. Rayquaza was a mon I used to think was overrated. I no longer feel that way. I think Rayquaza is so fucking sick. Yeah. Yeah. Ah, fuck. God, it's so close between Lugia and Rayquaza for me. I'll talk about the benefit. I'll talk about Rayquaza, then afterwards I'll see if I like it more than Lugia. So Lugia or Rayquaza, he fills out like the weather trio. Where Kyogre's the water, Groudon's the land, and Rayquaza is the sky. And he sort of like he's like the older brother between the two. Like he's the one who like splits up Kyogre and Groudon fighting. Like he shows up and those two know, okay, we gotta cut it out, which makes Rayquaza kind of seem like the most important or most potent of the three. He's a dragon, sick ass typing. And well, I mean, also his ability like nullifies the other two. So yeah, he kind of is top dog. But as I mentioned with Rayquaza, he's got a beef with Rayquaza because on top of just being like the guardian of the skies and like being the embodiment of the heavens, he also guards the planet from extraplanar threats. Like, oh my god, like, salute, thank you, soldier. So, sick as fuck. He was also a little boss fight in Subspace Emissary in Brawl, which is cool as fuck. That's actually how I was introduced to him for the first time. Yeah, no, I definitely like Lugia more than Rayquaza now that I've been thinking about it. But he's so sick. He's so cool. Yeah, he's awesome. And like I mentioned with Deoxys, he's got like that fucking point blank kill, point blank hyper beam kill on Deoxys in the movie. So fucking sick. Oh, now we got the Reggies. No Reggie Drago or Electric though. Anyways, Regice. Yeah, he's alright. He's at the top of Fluoride Stair. Regigigas. God, Regigigas is cool. So, Regigigas right off the bat, obviously slow start. Game Freak purposely made this Pokemon terrible. And I hate that. I can't believe they did that to him. But I love Regigigas' design. I think he looks awesome. I think he looks like a primordial golem who like shaped the earth and like created life. I think he perfectly nails that aesthetic. And I think that big old fucking Pokemon leak that happened like a year or two ago at this point that showed like a bunch of like scrapped lore, like unreleased lore. And like Regigigas, it turns out like he was like one of Arceus's first creations. And like he like shaped the continents themselves. Like Groudon is the land. He created the earth. but Regigigas is the one who shaped it into what it is now. He's kind of like the Lugia. He's like Kyogre's Lugia, you know? Groudon, or Kyogre is the ocean, but Lugia is its guardian. Groudon is the earth, but Regigigas is the reason why it looks the way it does. But that's awesome, and I think Regigigas, he looks like something that shaped the continents. And you know, he created life. He created the original Regis, Regice, Registeel, Regirock. But I love the idea also that like Arceus saw this and like, you know, it's like, oh, you're trying to supplant me. You think you can create. I'm the creator god, so I'm going to seal away you and your creations. I'm going to separate the four of you. And also there's like that parallel where like Arceus is a normal type, Regigigas is a normal type, and it's like, oh, it's great, it's awesome, I love it. But yeah, I love Regigigas, and I love just the added lore they, and like, he's like this tragic figure. It's like, oh, he's so cool, he's so sick. Why did they give him slow start? I wish, free my goat, Game Freak. I know you're never going to, but do something, fix this man. Regirock used to be my favorite of the Regis. He's not anymore. Spoiler. But he's pretty sick. He's got a pretty fucking raw design. Not taking him over Darkrai though. I think he's pretty cool. But he does make out of the all the Regis. He makes the good noise. He makes the funniest noise. I love that shit. Also, Cunty Regirock with a handbag. How could we ever forget? But my favorite of the Regis, Metallifart, Registeel. Registeel is one of those Pokemon for me now that just has a nickname. Like, he's one of those Pokemon where I look at him and I don't look at Registeel and I think, oh, Registeel. I look at him and I think Metallifart, which was the nickname. Like, I was playing a randomizer, I was playing a Soul Silver randomizer, and my Lake of Rage encounter was a shiny Registeel. I named him Metallifart, and he was incredible. But yeah, I love Registeel. He's great. He has lore to me. He has personal lore with me, and that puts him just above Big Papa Regigigas. Reshiram. Reshiram's pretty cool. I had white and then black too as a kid because I like Zekrom a lot more. So he second fiddle. But as time's gone on, I've been able to appreciate Reshiram for what he is, and he's got a sick design. You know, representing truth, very admirable. Pretty sick thing to embody. Dragon Fire, the cool typing. He doesn't go above Deoxys. I think he's better than Jirachi. They don't go above Deoxys. And also, you know, I think because you know, with Pokemon Black and White, ends up capturing the other like Taoist dragon that you don't get. And maybe it's because I had white when I was a kid, but I think In looks a lot sicker with a Reshiram than he does with a Zekrom. So I don't know. There's my little 2 cents there for that, I guess. Shaman. Shaman's whatever this form's called, little grass hedgehog. This is adorable. This is very cute. I remember catching glimpses of like the movie Shaman and Darkrai are in. I think it was like airing on like Cartoon Network or something once years ago, and I wasn't able to watch the whole thing, but I saw bits of it. But Shaman, it's pretty cute. It can go to I can find value better than Azelf. It's not. Oh yeah, it's not going above Mew though. But I think Shaman's a very, very cute design. It's adorable. Shaman Sky though I think looks stupid. I hate it. I hate how this thing looks. Get off of my screen. Solgaleo. Yeah, he's. Yeah, no, I don't even like him more than Lunala. I had Sun. Sun was the Gen 7 game I had, but I don't even like him more than Lunala now. Lion represents the sun. He's pretty cool. There's like some like lore where like he kind of represents like this old alchemical idea that I don't remember anymore. Which is kind of neat, but also I don't know. I don't care. Steel Psychic, neat typing. But yeah, he's whatever. Yeah, that's all I got to say about him, unfortunately. Last legendary beast, Suicune. Suicune's cool. He is... where... I'll put him... yeah, I'll take him over Regirock. And Darkrai. And Marshadow, but not Necrozma. That's as far as Suicune gets. So, like I said, I had Pokemon 4 as a kid. Suicune, big factor in that. Honestly, the highest praise I had to say about Suicune, when I was a kid, once again, a Pokemon AMV I saw, but it was one I can't find the original one anymore. I don't even know if it still exists. But it was a Pokemon AMV, and it was set to, it was for Suicune, and it was set to Time of Dying by 3 Days Grace. Which, that was how I was introduced to that song when I was a kid, and I think that is probably still my favorite 3 Days Grace song. There was a very long point in time where I would have told you that Time of Dying was my favorite song, period, when I was, like, in elementary school. But still, I have that very deep appreciation and connection with Suicune, because at one point in time, he was somewhat, in my head, he was responsible for showing me my favorite song. So, salute, shout out to him, thank you for the service. Also, he's very good and competitive. Like, he's historically been pretty good and competitive, or at least he was in, like, the earlier gens. He's the quintessential bulky water type. But yeah, he's cool. I love his color scheme. I'll say that. I love the shade of blue and purple. I think he's awesome. And he also, you know, he was the one who got the sister game, you know, Pokemon Crystal. He's like the box legendary technically for that one. Which, you know, bring back sister games. I think Game Freak should do that. They're never going to. They're just going to keep doing DLC for the rest of the time. But I like the idea of the sister game more than I do the direct sequel. And, you know, it's a lost art form. We got Platinum, and I think that's going to be the last one ever. Plus, I'm sure they make more money from just doing DLC and sequels. But yeah, Suicune's cool. Shout out to him. The Tapus. Yeah, I don't got a lot to say about the Tapus. I played Gen 7 once. Never even did the post game. I think I caught the Tapu Koko, and then after that I was like, I'm not doing this bullshit. Tapu Koko, he's pretty cool. Electric type, that's sick. Only one I ever caught. He's in Smash. He goes there. Tapu Bulu. Like a big old bull man. That's pretty cool. But he's grass type, which is lame. He goes below Celebi. Yeah. I don't remember which one's which. One of these is Tapu Fini, and I don't remember the other one's name. Fluoride Stare, if there were ever a Pokemon. Wait. Yeah, no, they're not better than Ho-Oh. I'll take him over Cosmog, though. Yeah, that looks about right. Terrakion. Fucking ran OU, Gen 5 OU for a little bit. I don't even think he's good anymore now, actually. I think my goat is washed. Definitely my second favorite of the Swords of Justice. When I was younger, I thought he was stupid. I didn't like that he was like a lot shorter and stouter than the other two members. But now I can appreciate my short, stocky king. Just imposing as fuck. Rock fighting's a sick type. Like I said, fucking ran Gen 5 OU. Dude was a fucking menace. Oopsie. Oh, yeah. No, I think I will take him over Deoxys. Because he has the one benefit for him that Deoxys never could. He's from Gen 5. But yeah, Terrakion's sick. And also, he's part of one of the funniest CTC verses. So yeah. Shout out to Terrakion. T-Rack knocked the air out of that bitch. Thunderous. I'm not going to use his incarnate form because I think it looks stupid. Excuse me. Thunderous, like I said, the fucking genies. I don't really, they're whatever. Never caught them, never bothered with that little bullshit. Lightning type though, that's pretty sick. He was also very, very good in VGC. I mean, yes, Prankster, he was ridiculous. He's kind of the reason why, like, Prankster got nerfed a little bit, like, you know, by making dark types immune to it. He was too good. He was too damn good. But he's okay. I'll put him right below Azelf. And then Tornadus. He, for a while, for like 3 generations, like 5, 6, and 7, yeah, for 3 generations, this was the only mono air type in the entire series, which is crazy. Like, what? That doesn't exist. That was never an issue or a thing for any of the other types, but it took until Gen 5 for a mono air type to exist. And so Tornadus being the first one who was like that, I don't know, it's a pretty neat, interesting little tidbit. Now, there are more mono flyings. Not a ton more, but there are more. But, you know, he's got that going for him. He's got that little interesting lore. But yeah, I mean, he kind of just goes with Thunderous. Yeah, none of these guys got the fucking aura that Lando T does, unfortunately. Yuxi, the last of the Lake Trio. I don't give a shit about him. Yeah, he goes below Keldeo. Stupid. Victini. Oh, God, I love Victini. First mythical for Gen 5, and I didn't get to, that I never got access to, because I couldn't pre-order Gen 5, because I was 8 years old, and I did not have pre-order money, or any money, for that matter. But I love, he brought back the tradition of having, small, little, adorable, psychic, mythical Pokemon. Shaman was kind of that, but not really. Victini's more in the air of Mewtwo and Celebi and Mew, Celebi, and Jirachi. Yeah, I don't think I'm putting Victini above Suicune. But yeah, he's cool. He's adorable. Got his own movie, I believe. I think one of the Gen 5 movies. Victini's like a main piece in it. But I don't have a ton of experience with Victini, unfortunately. No, it's not like I've ever had one legitimately. And he doesn't really do anything in competitive that I'm aware of, so... Yeah, but he's got a really cute design. I like his concept. Verizon. Definitely... God. No, I like Virizion more than I like Keldeo, honestly. You know what? I'll say this. I can find the tiniest little figment of appreciation for Virizion because they were in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game for the 3DS, the one that wasn't very good, that I had as a kid. Like, they show up at, like, one point, and I just remember playing that as a kid. I'm like, oh my god, that's Virizion. What the fuck are they doing here? That's neat. And, like, their whole thing is, like, they're legendary, so, like, they're this big, like, kind of, like, celebrity figure. But I had that little nostalgic association with Virizion, and that's about all I can say about it. But yeah. Volcanion. Gen 6 Mythical. I didn't even know this thing existed for the longest time. Water fire type. Very cool typing. Very cool concept. He's cool. He's alright. I don't like him more than Mewtwo. Let's not get ahead of ourselves there. One of the only Pokemon that can still learn Scald after Game Freak realized that that move was the spawn of Satan and removed it from everything. But yeah, I don't have a ton to say about Volcanion. He's cool. Water fire. He's like a underwater volcanic vent. Yeah. Xerneas. Okay. Oh wow. Yeah, we're getting into the. Oh, we're getting it. Oh, there's some big dogs left here. Xerneas. I hate this thing. Sick design, sick concept. It's the like embodiment of life. That's kind of. It's like the deers that I can't remember the name of that like roam like the world tree, like roam Yggdrasil. So cool, so awesome. However, I hated going against this thing in competitive, and I still do. I think it's stupid. I think Power Herb Geomancy is dumb. I hate fairy types. Fuck this thing. I will. Fuck you, Xerneas. They could never make me like you. Cool design though, but every time I see you, I'm filled with dread. Yveltal though, whoo, that's my dog. That's my dude. Oh man, I think he goes above Entei. God, I fucking love Yveltal. Design raw as fuck. Flying dark type, sick dark type. That's all I gotta say. He's obviously he's the antithesis of Xerneas, so he's the embodiment of death. He's the fucking Pokemon Grim Reaper. And I touched up on this in the dark type rankings, but him being the embodiment of death makes the Pokemon Y plot so much more like extreme and like fucked up than the Pokemon X. Because Lysander's whole thing is that he wants to make the world better, he wants to make a beautiful world, and he uses the power of the legendary Pokemon for that game to accomplish it. So for Pokemon X, in order to create the perfect, beautiful world, he's going to make everyone immortal. In Pokemon Y, in order to create the perfect, beautiful world, he wants to commit omnicide, which is crazy. But it's funny as hell. Inadvertent side effect of his existence. But he's awesome. He's sick. He was the only reason that Gen 8 Ubers wasn't the worst metagame of all time. And I think Gen 7 too. It was specifically Gen 8. Gen 8 was the reason why, he kept Gen 8 Ubers from being unplayable. But I love the little fucking, like, kind of like scarf thing he's got going on, where it's like a wisp of smoke. It's so cool. Oh god, Yveltal's such a sick fucking design. And I love that, like, they were able to like make him and Xerneas like resemble, like they're like they made Xerneas kind of resemble an X and not make it look stupid, and they're able to make Yveltal look like a Y and not make that look completely stupid. But yeah, I love Yveltal. Sick fucking mon. Zapdos. About time we got to my boy. He is definitely my favorite of the legendary birds. I don't think he goes into buddy tier, but good lord is he swagged out. Very good and competitive, especially the early gens. Very good and competitive. He's known for decimating unprepared teams in Gen 1 OU. He's a lightning type, he's electric type, and like I said, I love lightning. Favorite element, so the lightning bird's a lot cooler to me than the ice bird or the fire bird. But when I was younger, I used to think his design was stupid. I thought his like wings looked a little too like wide and stubby, but I love it. I think it looks great now. I love that he looks like he has just been electrocuted, like a cartoon character who's just been electrocuted. But it doesn't look stupid, you know? I really appreciate that they were able to do that. Or they were able to pull that off, you know, the way they did. And Zapdos is a silly name. I really just love it. But yeah, shout out to him. Okay. Zekrom's my favorite legendary. God, where do I even fucking start with Zekrom? So, right off the bat, Gen 5. Bonus points. Dragon type. Bonus points. Electric Dragon. Hella bonus points. All black design. Hella bonus points. The fact that he has been very good in competitive, and he's only ever been allowed in Ubers, but like, I don't know about the most recent, well, national decks and all that. I don't know about Gen 9, but in Gen 5, he was pretty good. Gen 6, he was pretty good. A little worse because of fairies. Same thing with Gen 7. But, I mean, Zekrom was one of the reasons... Zekrom was, like, the main reason why, like, Dynamax got banned in, like, Gen 8 competitive. Or especially with at least Gen 8 Ubers. He just abused it way too fucking well. And then Gen 9 national decks, I don't know. He's also a physical attacker. Now, objectively speaking, like in a competitive sense, it's better to be a special attacker, for various reasons. But I like my Pokemon being big, strong, bulky, physical attackers. I just do. I like that more. And, you know, Reshiram's a very potent special attacker, but Zekrom's the big, fucking, beefy physical attacker who, you know, hits the gym every single day. He's just so sick. I love him. Zekrom's the fucking best. Honestly, like, top 5 Mon. Like, top 5, at the very least, like, top 7. There aren't a lot of Pokemon that I'm taking over Zekrom. He's so fucking cool. And that's my quarterback. That's my legendary. That's my box legendary. Zeraora. This is a Pokemon I could not tell you a single thing about. I just realized Zarude isn't on here. I don't know. I feel like there are some Mons on here who should be that aren't. Yeah, no, he, I remember going on to Cerebi to, like, look something up after, like, Gen 7 was, like, done and over with, but before Gen 8 came out, and I saw Zeraora plastered all over the website. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Who is this? He, like, at least with, like, Volcanion, and, like, Hoopa, and, like, Magearna, I remember hearing, like, rumblings, and, like, Marshadow, I remember hearing, like, rumblings in the winds of, like, these Pokemon existing and coming out. Zeraora quite literally was announced and released under my nose. Like, I did not know this dude existed. I completely missed him. But yeah, I cannot tell you anything about him. He is the epitome of Fluorite Stare. Zygarde, I'm not gonna bother ranking the dog form. What the dog doing? But Zygarde, and I'm not gonna rank complete Zygarde. Although he's definitely in the buddy tier. That's such a fucking badass design. Anyways, Zygarde, he's swagged out. Ooh. Yeah, I like him more than Jirachi. I like him more than Reshiram. I'm taking him over Deoxys. I'm taking him over Terrakion. I think Arceus. I don't know. Why the fuck did I had Palkia above him? Jesus, I need to low Palkia. Oh, wow. Oh, I feel bad. I just like all these other Pokemon a lot more. No, he goes above Marshadow. Yeah, Palkego's above Marshadow. Zygarde, he's like the third and final. He's the third member of like the God, what's their names? The fucking Yveltal and Xerneas' trio. I don't remember their name. Their trio name. But one thing I like about Zygarde is the fact that we don't know shit about him. Like, very much there was supposed to be more for him. Like, you know, people talk about, like, oh, Pokemon Z, which, you know, we're getting Legend ZA now, so we're hopefully going to learn a lot more about Zygarde. But in, like, Gen 6, we didn't know shit about him, and I loved that. He was like this mystery, which I feel like a lot of games, I feel like gaming has kind of lost to an extent, where he was just this aspect, and he's there, and he's mysterious, and he's not really explained all that well. And I loved that. Like, you just go into a random cave that's unlocked at post-game, and you find him, you capture him, and he's like, yeah, he's the third member of the trio that Yveltal and Xerneas compose. And, like, that's kind of it, you know? And I love that, and, like, he's kind of like the same thing with Reshiram, where, you know, Xerneas has the fairy aura, Yveltal has the dark aura, but, Zygarde has, like, the aura break. Like, he disrupts the two of them. He's like the neutralizer. He's the balance between the two of them. And that's cool. I like that he's partially based off the Nidhogg. I think he's got a cool design. He's got an amazing shiny, but he was shiny locked for some reason, and like he's never been officially released as a shiny, which sucks. Ground Dragon, sick typing. But yeah, I love that he didn't really get explained away, and then Gen 7 introduced like the little Zygarde bites, and then there's like 30% Zygarde, what the dog doing, it's Scooby-Doo over here, and then 70% Zygarde was the original Zygarde, and then complete Zygarde is this fucking what the fuck, huge bulking, I was trying to say both of those words at the same time, this huge bulking humanoid dragon man thing that's so fucking sick. God, yeah, that got introduced, whatever, still not really fully explained. But I love that. I loved the way Zygarde was introduced, and I am looking forward to having his like lore and like his whole thing being explored more. But I loved the way he was introduced. I really did like the fact that he's kind of just plopped in the game, and like that was it, and they didn't tell us anything, and I love that. I loved the theory crafting the community did with that. But that's the tier list. What? This video is only damn near 2 hours. Yeah. Well, if you made it this far, drop a thumbs up in the comment section. None of you are going to, but hey, if any of you do, you're going on the wheel. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next week. I might talk about more Pokemon, I might not. We'll see. Deuces.